All right, welcome everybody back to another Zinc podcast. Haven't done a podcast in a while, so we thought what better person to do it with than our director of culinary, Chef Dave Ash.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Before we get into some fun little tidbitty culinary questions, just give us like a brief history. Like, what was your culinary past like before you came here and started at Zinc?
So going into my 27th year in the industry, hurts to say, started off 15 years old in McDonald's, had to get a special certificate to work the clamshell grill back then, did hometown buffet, and then started restaurants when I was 19, and then got my first executive chef job when I was 20.
Wow.
Then opened up a restaurant as executive chef in Akron, Ohio when I was 23, and then joined what has now become Well-Built in 2005.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zinc after that.
And I've been at Zinc for, I just had my 10-year anniversary last month.
Oh, get out.
Yeah.
Well, happy 10-year anniversary.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to go down memory lane with some fun questions today and kind of circle back around
That'll
to all
probably
of
pull
this.
over into another video.
Yeah, probably. This is going to be a lot. But just like, what would be your all-time favorite dessert? Like, you're making, and someone orders and says, make me your best favorite dessert. What would you do?
Well, I'm going to preface this with saying that I always hired a really good pastry chef
Okay.
because I'm not a baker. But I do have my go-tos that I know that I'll hit every time. It's got to be creme brulee.
Oh, that's my
Right?
favorite.
I mean, it's one of those things, like, if it's perfectly done, just about anybody can have it, right? It's gluten-free. You can make it, as decadent as you want to. So I think that's got to be my go-to.
That's
Creme brulee.
literally my number one favorite dessert.
With fresh vanilla beans, of course.
Yes.
Only way to do it.
Only way.
Yep.
I think I've had it once without, and it was just a
It's not the
little
same.
not good.
Yeah.
So going back to your time as a chef, like, what would be the craziest like kitchen disaster that you ran into?
We'd probably have to do another segment of that offline. Not a whole lot you haven't seen in the kitchen. Never say I've seen it all, but I've seen enough. I've had to put a finger on a bag of ice before.
Oh,
That's up
completely
there. Oh, yeah,
decapitated.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. That was definitely up there.
Wow.
Had to turn the slicer off, find said appendage, put on a bag of ice. Yeah.
And then clean
Shout out Larry. He's still got it. He's still doing real well.
Sewed it back on?
Oh, yeah. He's an executive chef at a really nice country club, so he's doing very well.
Wow. Have you ever lost a finger?
Nope. I've got them all. I've got some nice big scars where I tried, but successful in keeping all of them together.
So you said you were the head chef,
Yes, ma'am.
but you've worked probably every aspect of the kitchen. Which is your favorite station to work?
I was probably best at middle/expo, just kind of keeping everybody in the same
I don't even
page.
know what expo means.
That's all right. So everything, order comes in. I think I was always best at keeping everybody up to date, giving all days, kind of saucing, plating, and then sending up, putting in the window. But just making for sure everything was on time, everything was timed out, knowing when I had to alert somebody on saute, knowing when to tell somebody on grill to execute, so everything came together at the 14-minute period.
Knowing me, that sounds like that would also be my favorite.
It is, because it's that to me it's everything does funnel through and then comes back out from middle or expo, whatever you want to call it. But I always like being on the line in expo, not on the other side. I've done both, and I prefer to be.
I remember the other people on the other side. So you've been gone from living this high, fast-paced lifestyle for a while. Do you miss it? And if so, what do you miss?
I do. I used to miss it every day. Now it comes and goes. I think a lot of it comes down to I know what everybody's gone through, especially in the last 2 years in our industry. The demand, labor. I know what it's like right now for a lot of my friends that are still living it. But I do miss the camaraderie. I miss the intensity. There's nothing that comes close to a Saturday night when everything is just humming. When it's the busiest, that's when everything is the best.
Yeah.
Like, never made mistakes when it was, tickets wall to wall. I only made a mistake when it was a Monday night and there was, a couple tables,
Yeah.
and that's where you kind of lose focus a little bit. But the chaos was always the attraction.
And so, not to say you have no chaos now. Like, I'm trying to think whenever somebody asks me about culinary, think like what I describe it as, and I always describe, you're such an expert, and you're able to come in and talk to anyone, whether it's just a mom and pop restaurant or a chain. So, how can we, as a culinary department, come in and help you transform your menu, listen to them, what they want to do, what they want to take their menu as in the next step, and say, okay, here's how we can help, and then let us work on training you. But like from this perspective now, like, is there any similarities? I mean, there has to be.
There are. I think experience obviously helps with trying to. Again, there's a whole bunch of different circumstances, right? Whether they are trying to change the way they're currently doing things, whether it's a brand new place and they don't know any better, or they've got a blank space under hood or no hood, and they're trying to figure out what appliance is going to give them the best, ROI. So I think where, if you want to look at where culinary comes in handy or we add value, I think it's understanding what they're trying to accomplish, right? Making them, first of all, if they are existing, taking what they consider to be their standard or what they're trying to do equal to. Never say I'm trying to improve anybody's food, right?
Yes.
I'm just trying to find a more efficient way to do it, make it easier on them, make their life easier, and consistency. Right, that's the number one word that is universal. It doesn't matter where you're at in the world; it has to be consistent.
Especially if they have 100 locations.
Sure,
that's
and it's
quite
all
a task.
scalable, right?
Yeah.
So whether they have one location at 100 or 15,000, it's got to be the same anywhere you go. So hopefully, a lot of times we help them along, through the testing process and vetting out, and a lot of times it comes down to what makes the most sense. For their operation. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. And being able to know when to say, this isn't the right way to go,
Yeah.
or let's look at, another avenue.
You're so used to asking questions and hearing feedback from chefs. What trend have you seen over the last year or so that chefs are trying to go in that you're working with them directly on?
I think it's not really a whole lot of surprise if, those who are watching in this industry, they follow all the trends too. And everything right now is in a unique transition because we kind of still have a little bit of hangover from COVID, right?
Yeah.
Where people are ordering out or getting delivery more, or that people are going back out, but still that delivery, that the Uber Eats, the DoorDashes are still maintaining.
Oh yeah, you can't go out without seeing 10 people walk in, but
Right.
even at a fancy restaurant, it blows me away.
But you bring up a great point though, because those become log jams, right? So where people handle that food that's ready to go out, that's the same area where people who are trying to dine in are also standing. So whether it's directing that traffic or finding a way to help food survive from the time that it comes off the line to your home
Yeah.
or hotel room, it's trying to keep that food integrity intact, whether, no matter if it travels 5 minutes or sometimes 45 minutes to an hour, right? So I think sometimes it's an unsolvable equation, but I think
Yeah.
we found a lot of ways to help the food survive those environments.
And to adjust it on the front end so
Sure.
it survives better.
Yeah, but the packaging has a lot to do with it. There's a lot of things that people really don't think about. I didn't know about prior to 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. You've had to get up to date on all of that.
Yeah, our whole
Gosh.
industry has shifted, so rapidly, so quickly that things are starting to come back, but it's still, I think it's always going to be a little bit, pointed towards the delivery, and people want it on demand. They don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I was craving this Greek fish dish that I get all the time, which is very weird, right? So I go in to get it, and the restaurant's jammed. Literally, we can't sit down and eat. So I think I'll get this to go. It'll be no problem. Literally, to go fish in foam packaging. Let me tell you, it was not the best. So I'll be back to get that. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a good example, though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
foam.
Something that you go there for specifically.
Yeah, their specialty.
But if you take it, that same dish that if you consumed it right away, it would have been delicious. But by the time it made it to your house or wherever you consumed it, it was totally different.
I did eat it in the car.
There you go.
I was worried about it. So you know that I really like to cook.
Yeah.
I cook every night, different recipes, and one of the things that I want to work on next year is, kind of taking that to the next level. So, like, what advice would you give to me as someone that's grown up in culinary? Just like little things that I could do at home, just to take my at-home cooking to a more culinary approach.
Sure. Well, I think it's a good question. I think it's one thing that people don't pay enough attention to. I think if I could tell, it's a general answer, but I would say it's a very important one. Stop looking at recipes.
I'm working on it.
Stop looking at recipes. Recipes don't teach you how to cook.
So, as someone that I grocery shop for the week, I
Sure.
look at my recipes. So then, how could I plan better to say, all right, let me buy these basic things and know that I'm going to get 7 dinners out of this?
So back to your earlier question real quick. I want to say that if you're looking to just up your game, I would always say learn techniques over recipes. So if you wanted to try a new recipe, instead of just focusing on a recipe, learn a new technique. Learn how to saute, learn how to make sauces, work on your knife skills,
Yes.
right? So I think that way, once you start understanding how to build flavors, how to do things like deglaze a pan, that's where you can go from just making chicken in a skillet to braising to, making soups, sauces, stocks, and then learning how to organize it too, where you could, if you dedicate half a day on Sunday to prep for the week, right? You can make all of your soups, sauces. It's great soup weather right now.
Oh, I know.
Where, you can chill it properly, put it in containers, freeze it, and then know you just have to pull it out a day in advance. And then you could have something, whether you finish it with a little bit of, butter, cream, herbs for presentation purposes, or some, diced chicken, whatever it is,
Yeah.
that you can have something elevated, so you're not cooking every single day.
We'll see if we have the same answer on this too.
Sure.
So I know I want to get better about sauces next year. What is your favorite sauce? Like, and I'm not saying depending on the meat that you're ordering, just in general. It's your
Favorite
last
sauce.
meal. What's your favorite sauce? Because I know my answer.
I would have to say, favorite sauce would have to be a beurre blanc.
Really? I've not even heard of this.
Yeah, and coming from something I had to make every single day, those who have made it already know if you don't have everything just right, your reduction at the right temperature, your butter at the right temperature, no emulsification can happen.
This sounds
So,
too difficult.
but when it's done perfectly and presented properly, like a hollandaise is the same thing.
Yes, just
right?
constant.
And I've
yeah.
made scrambled eggs before, and I'll do it again. I know I'll break it someday, but I think something like that would probably have to be my go-to, just because it can go on so many different things, right?
Yeah.
You can add, capers and some lemon and put it on fish. You can, throw some whole grain mustard in it and put it on pork. It's very versatile. So.
Well, you may have to teach me. We'll do another.
So what was
segment
yours?
on
I
that.
missed it.
Mine's béarnaise, hands down.
Oh, nice. So
Had that for
hollandaise
Christmas.
derivative. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
always like stirring it while my mom is doing the rest. Like, stand there and stir it. Don't do anything else.
I'll show you a trick how to do it in a blender.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
I would love that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
There's your first hack right there.
I love it.
We'll do béarnaise, I guess, in a blender. Make it very difficult to separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a blender. We'll do a video series for
Sure.
that one.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for this, Chef Dave. Hope to tune in for more culinary podcasts in the future on this, and thanks for your time
Cool.
today.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Love it.